So a person shouldn't say, for example, you know why I don't act in a promiscuous manner? Because I'm so pious. No. The Gemara says people naturally have tendencies, and you have to admit that you have the tendency, and just say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me I can't do this. So why don't I do A, B, C, D? Because the Torah says that you can't do A, B, C, D. That's what the Gemara says, right? Al tomar I afshi be'arayot. אלא אמור אפשי ואפשי, אלא מה שעשה שהקדוש ברוך הוא גזר עליי, או שקוני גזר עליי. So the point is that we reject the idea of asceticism. That's a Christian concept, and that's what we're going to be studying today. So I'm reading now Harambam, and as I said, it is in your in the WhatsApp group. Shemeh Yomar Adam. A person may say, Ho'il v'hakin'ah, v'hata'ava, v'hakavod. We know that jealousy is an undesirable attribute, right? Kin'ah. I see my friend, I'm jealous of him. Not a good thing. The Torah says, Lo tahmod. Here, Brother Mikey, this is another example of Ilchot Ya'or. The Torah says, Lo tahmod. So, Lo tahmod is purely mental, right? So we see that there are laws where the Torah requires us to develop a certain type of personality and to reject other types of personalities. So that's Kin'ah. Ta'ava. Ta'ava means physical pleasure. So a person says, I can't have a cheeseburger. Okay? Torah says you can't have a cheeseburger, so I won't have it. V'hakavod. And then to chase after self-honor. There's people who love to be in the spotlight. I think that if I had to, actually I'm going to make an analysis of Zelensky. He's an actor, and I think that he might have tripped up in his desire to enhance himself. He's in the White House, he's with the president, with the vice president, he's there arguing with them, like putting them in their place. I think he made a mistake. But the mistake was based on the psychological state of mind, which like, this is amazing, look at me. Like they're dressed in suits, I'm dressed in this jumper, like I'm about to go to the gym, even though they told me to wear a suit. So like there was an element there of haughtiness and seeking to bring the spotlight upon yourself, and that might have tripped him up. But I heard about 3 hours ago that Trump announced that they're stopping aid to Ukraine. So he made a mistake. He made a very big mistake, but that's what Kabbalah does. When you want to bring attention to yourself, sometimes you end up hurting yourself. That's Kabbalah. And things of this nature, we studied over the last 2-3 weeks, undesirable personality traits. And each one of these is evil in and of itself. And each one of these can really remove a person from the world. And when it says remove a person from the world, meaning God put you in a certain situation and you can destroy that situation. So Zelensky, he's in the White House. Oh my gosh, I'm going to show like all my friends. I'm like playing Donald Trump and playing J.D. Vance like a fiddle. Mamash, we'll see that's from Mina Olam. He's destroying Ukraine, he's destroying his own country. I'm sure there's going to be a resolution. But that's the idea, how a person can destroy things. So a person has ta'ava, he desires he desires a woman, and then he destroys his marriage, he destroys his relationship with his wife, he destroys his relationship with his children, right? You never can undo that, right? Barminan. So that's an example of this going after ta'ava, physical indulgence. Musi'it ha'adam min alam. It could destroy the person's world. You see that? Each one in their own right. So the person says, you know what? I have an idea. I want to go to the other extreme. I want to be an extremist when it comes to physical pleasures. I want to be an extremist when it comes to kavod, when it comes to bringing any honor to myself. I want to be an extremist when it comes to jealousy. I want to go all the way to the other side, where I will act in a way that brings dishonor. I will act in a way that is humiliating to myself. I will act in a way that people will look down upon me. I will act in a way where I will seek no physical pleasure, even things that I need, right? You get what he's saying? Christianity. I'll eat no meat. No meat. I'm not going to have any wine. I'm not going to marry a woman, or should I marry a woman? a woman, again, literally, the Christian idea for the Christians, the ideal state, what?
Is it when they give up stuff too?
Yeah, exactly. So like in the monastery, they live a horrible life. They wear sackcloth, right? And then their ministers or their priests or whatever, I don't know what you call the different Christian denominations, they're not allowed to get married, right? They're not allowed to be with a woman. So he says, I don't want to be with a woman. Also, I don't want to be in a nice house. I want to live in a dumpy place. Right? Again, the Christian ascetics, they used to live in the caves. They used to live in these weird types of situations where they eschewed every type of physical pleasure or physical indulgence, but they eschewed it to the other side where they were completely in a state of deprivation. And I will not wear beautiful clothing, I will wear sackcloth, the hasemen, wool, like hard wool. So now when a person has hard wool, it makes a person itch. It's very unpleasant. It's very difficult to wear that. It wasn't just the Christians who did this. There was among the pagan priests, there were these ascetics who used to live in a very, very shallow, low lifestyle of constant suffering. Also among the Muslims, there was a group of Muslims, I forgot what they were called, but yeah, they believed that you should live in a very physically difficult way, live in poverty, that there's no greater zehut than living in poverty, right? So he's describing something that was common among different religions. What does Judaism say about this? Does Judaism say, okay, this person who wants to live in poverty, that's great. This person who wants to completely remove himself from physical pleasures, that's great. He's not going to get married because he's not going to get married. He's not going to have certain experiences. This person who said, I don't want to eat meat. Meat is delicious. I'm gonna abstain from eating meat. What is the Jewish perspective on this type of person? Right? You understand the question?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any theories? Or if anybody wants to, you don't have to. But if you have a theory or if you have a particular point of view you want to express, you may do so now.
Off the cuff, you want to say maybe no.
Maybe extreme.
It's a middle ground. Yeah. Where don't idolize the physical so much, where that's being taken in itself. But it's all it means to what we need it.
But it's also the opposite of what you've been saying to us the past few weeks. It's the opposite of indulging in something. Now it's depriving yourself of something. So there's no middle ground. The whole idea is to be in the middle.
Yes, correct. Correct. You're both correct. Middle ground. So Rambam says about these people, Gamze derech or Gamzu derech ra'ahi, ve'asul lilech ba. This is a bad road. And not only is it a bad road, it is forbidden to go down that path. Meaning, if you're thinking in your mind, I want to be a pious person, and to achieve piety, I'm going to deprive myself, that is haram. Asur. And furthermore, if a person decides to behave in this way, in the Torah, this person is called a sinner. Meaning, the Torah refers to a person who does this as a sinner. Who knows where in the Torah you see that a person who deprives himself is called a sinner? Does anybody know where this is in the Torah? Where? Mikey says the Nazir, and you are correct. Sharehu Omer ben Nazir. The pasuk says, now you remember the Nazir. The Nazir is a person who, for one reason or another, he decides that on a temporary basis, he's not going to take a haircut. Okay, he's not going to drink wine. Right. So drinking wine is a type of physical pleasure. Getting a haircut, also you feel good about yourself. You know, you go to the barber. You feel after a good haircut, it makes you feel good. Right? And also lo yitambal lamitim. That's a separate issue that is not going to be nitmal lamitim. So with respect to the Nazir, when he finishes the period of Nazirut, the minimum period of Nazirut is 30 days. Well, whatever. Let's say he said, I want to be a Nazir for a year. Whatever the period is. When he finishes the term of his Nazirut, the Pasuk says as follows, V'chiper alav me'asher chata ala nafesh. This Nazir, who just finished his Nazirut, now he has to have kapara. What does he have to kapara for? Because he made a sin to his soul. He sinned onto his soul. How did he sin into his soul? What did he do? But that's what Pasuk says. It says, "V'chiper alav, chiper milashon kapara, me'asher chata ala nafesh." Because of the sin that he did to his soul, he needs kapara, and he has to bring certain korbanot. Right? So he has to bring a certain the Nazir has a series of korbanot that he has to bring to the Bet Mikdash when he finishes the Nazirut. So Amro Chachamim. So the Chachamim explain this pasuk, and they say as follows: Uma im Nazir shelo perash ela min hayayin tzarich kapara. Look at this. The Chachamim say, what did this guy do to his soul? What did he deprive himself of? Did he deprive himself of meat? No. Did he deprive himself of a wife? No. Did he deprive himself of a nice house? No. What did he deprive himself? Wine. That's it. Wine. Right? And for this, that he deprived himself of wine, tzarich kapara. He needs to atone for his sin. That's it? Yeah, that's a sin. God made this beautiful thing called wine, and the Pasuk says, V'yayin yisamach levav enosh, right? And Shlomo HaMelech says, V'yayin lemar einav. Sometimes a person has a bitter soul. He's bitter, he's suffering in life. So Shlomo HaMelech says, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, okay? Yeah, a person could have a cup of wine, saying kiddush or whatever it is, and he feels a sense of joy, right? Or it dissipates the bitterness. That's what Shlomo HaMelech says, okay? All this person did was stop drinking wine. And they said, Uma Nazir shelo perash min hayayin kapara. Imagine a person who lives an ascetic lifestyle. He doesn't just deny himself of wine. He doesn't just deny himself from meat. He denies himself from a wife, from wine, from a nice house, from nice clothing. That's an avera. Mamash an avera. Lefichach sivu chachamim, and this is why the chachamim said as follows, and it was very intelligent. Shelo imna adam asmo, ela midevarim shemena'atu levad. You should abstain from things. You know what you should abstain from? What the Torah tells you to abstain from, and that's it. The Torah says, don't have a pig. I don't want to have pig. The Torah says, don't have cheeseburger. I don't want to have cheeseburger. The Torah says, you have to be with, you have to marry a woman. After you marry her, you can be with her. Fair enough. That's it. No, nobody else. Now I say no, but you know what? According to the Torah, I can have meat, but I want to be an extra tzaddik. No, that's not an extra tzaddik. That's a het. That's a sin. Meaning, if a person is now going to impose upon himself things that the Torah did not impose upon himself, that's a sin. Very important to understand, right? Sometimes people give reasons for why they want to have certain stringencies. Okay, I mean, whatever the reason is, doesn't matter, because there is no reason in the presence of the Creator. I come up with an excuse. No, it should be forbidden. I guess God just missed that one. Thank you. God is saying, looking at you and saying, thank you, I missed it. If you don't mind revising the Torah for me, thank you. I would appreciate that. Right? So the point is that so it's also a little arrogant of a person to think that he's smarter than God, right? Right. A person should not start making nedarim. I'm making a neder. It says a person, I'm not making a neder. But a person says he wants to make a neder, that for the next 30 days he's going to sleep on the floor. Every night he's going to sleep on the floor. So yes, what a Sadiq. No. This says something is mutar, and he says it's asur. This is what the Hachamim say about this type of person who wants to create stringencies that are invented stringencies. Lo dayecha, ma she'asra Torah. It's not enough for Torah. There's a lot of things haram according to the Torah, right? You go down when you're with your family on vacation. You want to eat something. And everybody's going to the restaurant, they're eating, they're this, you can't eat. It's not kosher, I can't eat. Okay, there's a lot of things that's haram. Right? Not enough for you. Now you want to add new stringencies? So, that's what the Hachamim say. ובכלל הזה, אלו שמתענים תמיד אין בדרך כלל. And Rambam says something interesting. There were some people who always make ta'aniyot. I'm not talking about a situation, but like my grandfather, Alav Shalom, he was a Sadiq, Mamash Hasidah Kadisha, Sava Shlomo. So if there was some tragedy in Am Yisrael, he would make ta'aniyot. He would. Like if there was a terrorist attack, somebody died, if there was a war, he would make ta'aniyot. Okay, that's different. We're not talking about a person who's making a ta'anit because there's a reason to make a ta'anit. We're talking about a person who makes a ta'anit for the sake of making a ta'anit. So Rambam says, people who make a ta'anit, they're always making ta'aniyot, not for a good reason. Sometimes a person, for example, he did an avon. So he wants to make a ta'anit for kaparat avonot. Okay, fine. That's a reason. Sometimes a person is going through a rough patch in his life. So he wants to make a ta'anit because he's praying to God, please save me from this rough patch. Fine. But elu shemit'anin, what's the key word here? Tamid. Always. Not because there's a rough patch, not because of kaparat avonot, not because something's happening to Am Yisrael. He's making ta'anit all the time. He thinks it's a big madrigat to always make ta'aniyot. He says, by the way, he's very careful. He doesn't say barim, he doesn't say chotim. He says enam bederech tova. This isn't the ideal path. It's not a good path to always make ta'aniyot. Right? Ve'asru hachamim sheyehe adam misagev asmo beta'aniyot. And Chachamim actually forbade that a person is always in ta'anit because it could be damaging. It could be a situation where he's hurting his own ability to do things because it takes away from your strength. You can't study as much Torah. You can't do what you need to do. And here's what Shlomo Melech says about things like this: Al tehi sadiq arbeh. Don't try to make yourself like you're some super pious guy, right? No. Become a Sadiq, yes. But don't be Sadiq Harbeh. When you're Sadiq Harbeh, you're more Sadiq than God. Right? God gave you 613 mitzvot, not enough. Right? And the 613 mitzvot are not easy to do, right? Meaning, there's a lot within the 613 mitzvot, and then all the mitzvot Rabbanan, all the mitzvot Divrei Sofrim, all the Kabbalot, Divrei HaNevi'im, so many things that a person has to work on. And so thinking of something that's not in the Gemara, thinking of something that's not in the Harambam, thinking of something that's not in the Shulchan Aruch. So I'm going to add, but there's so much in the Shulchan Aruch. Do what the Shulchan Aruch says. So it says, Al Tehi Sadiq Arbeh. And this is what a Sadiq Arbeh is? Not happy with it. V'al titchakam yoter. Don't try to make yourself like you're smarter than God. You're not smarter than God. Lama tishomem. If a person has that attitude, he's going to end up becoming desolate. Wow, that's heavy. Tishomem, milashon shemama. He's going to become desolate, spiritually empty. So very careful to be precise in the mitzvot of the Torah. Right? Lo tosif al hadavar asher anochim b'sefecha hayom v'lo tachsiru mimenu. It's forbidden. Lo tosif v'lo tigla. I'm sorry. It's forbidden to v'lo tigla'u mimenu. It's forbidden to add to the Torah or to subtract from the Torah, right? Follow the Torah. All right, so that's interesting. So this is the first topic we're studying today. We're going to go to the next topic soon. But first, are there any questions? She'elot.
So these people that think they're extra better than other people, should they be consulting with rabbis or someone else?
What?
Steinberg. Yeah, he would add another CC.
Really?
I met him one time. He's a skinny guy, but he's this big.
No, I don't just. So what?
Rabbi Steinberg.
Yeah, right. So what happened?
100 and change CCOT. Yeah.
So like meaning, okay. So we usually have 4 CCOT.
We have one.
One.
Oh, that's allowed. Yeah. It's mega shalom. Okay, Ivanti. Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying he's adding one. Like, what? Look, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to speak about specific people. I don't know. Maybe something happened. I don't know. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. and I believe strongly in giving everybody the benefit of the doubt and loving people.
Did his followers wear layers of tzitzit as well?
No, I don't think so. What about giving more than maaser?
Right, so even there, you're not allowed to give above a certain amount. Even in tzedakah, there's a limit to how much tzedakah you can give. You can give more than maaser. You can't give 50%. You can't give 40%. Right? There's a limit to how much you can give. So,
But I thought that comes back to you.
no, it's haram to give. It's haram. Here, let me see if I can find it.
That was a good one, Isaac. I like that one.
Give me one moment. I want to read you in Harambam. So you won't, I'm not making this, yeah, no, I'll just open it here, I guess. Hilchot in Zera'in. Here we go. Give me a moment.
So if we're holding ourselves back now, we're only marrying one woman. Back in the day, they had many wives, so isn't that restraining yourself from? I guess they figured it out. One's enough, right?
Yep.
If it was a drowning.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Right.
Where does this concept of ta'anit dibur start from?
Oh, Ta'anit Tibur, but it's not a physical pleasure, right? We're dealing with physical pleasures, right? Ta'anit Tibur is based on the idea that it's haram to talk too much, and the Ta'anit Tibur is a little later, but it's not when you do Ta'anit Tibur. It's not like when you don't eat. When you don't eat, your body needs to you need food. You're suffering. Ta'anit Tibur is to straighten the mind. Like the idea is, a person spoke lashon hara. Maybe a person said a word he shouldn't have said. Maybe a person's talking too much. Whatever the reason is. So the Ta'anit Tibur, I kind of like it. When I was younger, I used to do it also, but I stopped. Let me see. I can't find it now about. Okay. All right. I'll find it later.
Sunday is the best day of Jewish cycle. Sunday is the best day of
Daddy, you text me, I'll kill you.
Look, let me say this. We're dealing.
You showed the camera on the screen.
Okay. So, I press play again. So listen, this is the thing. We're dealing here with a person where the Torah says something is allowed, and he says, no, I'm going to make it haram. We're not dealing here. There could be a machloket. Is this meat kosher or is this meat not kosher? Okay. I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. But it's a different issue. Meaning, the issue that we're dealing with here is that a person wants to take things that are clearly mutar according to the Torah and turn them into something that is haram. And that's a problem, right? Let me tell you a nice conversation. There's a Hazanut forum, and there was a conversation going on in the forum, and I wasn't participating in it too much, but the conversation was something along the lines of,
The one today, Rabbi?
oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Right. So, but it started 2 weeks ago, I think.
With the...
Yeah, so the question was, can you have, how do we deal? Sometimes there's a choir, little girls singing in the choir, this, so now they want to say that it's haram. Okay, fine, so they want to say it's haram.
I think this morning with my daughter every week. It's great.
So I just put a question, I put a question on the forum. I said, does anybody remember the older rabbis? How was it? I said, when I was growing up, I used to, in my house, but also I used to go to other Hakamim in Jerusalem, in Israel. And I remember they used to sing, and the daughters used to sing, and the wives used to sing, Pizmonim, meaning Shabbat, like we're having Shabbat. Like I remember, I didn't want to mention the names, but big Hakamim, like the Yanim. And they'd be singing Pizmonim, whatever, Friday night, and the woman is singing with them. They never said it's haram. So I put it on the forum, I started like kind of like a big back and forth, people this, that, but then I really like something. There's a Hazan in Argentina, I think he's the main Hazan in the Syrian synagogue there. Daniel Binker, I guess.
Yes.
What's his thing? Beautiful Hazan, but he
He's,
really, mamash, wow. He reminds me of Cabby in a way, right? Doesn't he? Yeah.
He's very talented.
Yeah, so he's one of the best, really one of the best. And he's old, and he replied to me, and he said, Sifatayim Yishak. He said when I was growing up, the Hachamim used to come over, we would sing Pizmonim with the daughters, with the wives, and because of that, we all came out beautiful voices, and we know how to sing, and Hazanut, and, you know. So that's an example. That's an example. The Torah doesn't say that if you have a little girl that's singing at home, you have to quiet. It's a beautiful thing. I actually think it's beautiful. I actually think it's beautiful when the family is singing together. What could be more beautiful? Sublime. You said you're singing with your daughter.
Yeah.
Mamash. It's that. So why are you denying yourself this beautiful thing? All
For
right.
them.
I was once in a bat mitzvah in a bar mitzvah. I had something in Israel. I don't remember what it was. Bar mitzvah again. So it was like so they had a girl who was singing, and it was bizarre. She was like, I think 10 or I don't know what. So they put like this big curtain up, and she was singing behind the curtain. I don't know. It's like I felt like God forbid if someone looks behind, what are you going to see there? Just a little girl. All right. Anyway, let's continue. So that's the topic. So that was one topic. We finished it. We're now going to the next topic. And it's as follows. If you have your phones, I see you're all looking at your phones, which is great because I posted it on the WhatsApp group. So I know that you're only looking at the. Hold on, I just want to check something here. Okay, something very interesting. Thank you. I like it.
You should do a challenge. Randomly ask people to show you their phone.
Yeah, there you go.
Or read the next line.
Yeah, next word.
So now, having said that Hashem gave us these beautiful things to experience, and that when you don't experience these beautiful things, you're actually harming yourself. Having said that, there's something interesting that Rambam is going to say now, and it kind of complements what we just said. Sarich Adam sheyechaven libo v'chol ma'asav kulam lidar et Hashem baruch hu bilvad. It's a very big statement. It seems almost like impossible. We'll explain it, but the statement is: a person in life has to direct his mind and his actions towards knowledge of God, meaning the ultimate goal in this world. Everybody wants to go to Olam Haba. So what takes you to Olam Haba? Knowledge of God. So when a person has knowledge of God in this world, he can go to Olam Haba. That's what he takes with him. That knowledge.
God meaning.
Yeah. So we're gonna see.
Acknowledging that there's a God.
No.
Awareness?
An awareness, a relationship, an understanding. Learning, understanding. But it's not enough to sit down and study. He says, all your actions should be directed towards that lofty goal. We're going to explain it. But you understand that. Now you all understand what he says. So the ultimate goal, and all our thoughts and actions should lead in the same direction. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue. When he sits down to rest, when he gets up to work, when he speaks, it should be towards that goal. How? So let's see. How can this be? Let's say a person has to go to work now. Is it a mitzvah to go to work? I mean, it's not a mitzvah. You need to go to work. You have responsibilities. So, let's say now a person is doing business, commerce. Or he's doing some sort of work. He's a baker and he's baking his bread because he wants to sell the bread because he wants to make money. Okay. לא יהיה בליבו לכוס מים לבד, אלא יעשה את זה בין אלו שידי אישה, דברים שהגוף צריך להם לאכילה ושתייה וישרת בית ומנשיאת אישה. In his mind, he should say, why am I working? Because I have responsibilities. I have to take care of my physical needs, I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of my wife, I have to give him food, I have to give him drink, I have to give him clothing, I have to pay yeshiva bills. Meaning, when you work, you should realize that you're doing a good thing. It's not a waste of time. You're working because you have certain things that you need, and the work is going to give you those things. So, meaning, when you do something, understand the significance of what you're doing, right? Meaning, so because a lot of times people are saying, what am I doing? I'm waking up, I go to work every day. Like, what's the point? So the answer is, well, God put you in this world. He gave you a wife and children, and the point is, you have a responsibility towards them, right? And acknowledge it and accept it. It'll make you a happier person, a healthier person. Another example. Let's give another example. We still have about 5-10 minutes. A person that was eating or drinking, so that's the most physical, unholy thing. I'm eating food. Or even he's going to be with his wife. It shouldn't be just for the physical aspect of eating and drinking, but and I'll prove it to you, says the Rambam. I'll prove it to you. If eating was just about the physical, then what would you be eating? Anything. You'd be eating unhealthy stuff all the time. Now we try to limit it, right? But if it was only about feeling good, then I would just be eating feeling good food. That's not good. That's against halakha. I have to eat to sustain myself physically. So I can't just eat tasty food. The food can be tasty, but I have to eat for physical needs. You understand? The slight adjustment in your mental focus, it changes everything, because now the eating becomes a mitzvah. If I'm just going to have ice cream, because I love ice cream, that's all I'm going to have, ice cream and potato chips and pretzels and whatever, and I'm going to exercise and get away with it, that's not a mitzvah. Then eating is not a mitzvah. If I'm eating because I want to help my body, sometimes I'll have something that doesn't taste so good, but I'll have it because I know it's good for me. Sometimes I'll have something that tastes good, but it's good for me. You understand the point? Okay, so Rambam now is going to go, and we're not going to read this with great detail, but Rambam now is going to devote an entire section towards what is healthy to eat, what is unhealthy to eat, when a person should eat, how much a person should eat. I'm not going to get into the physical health descriptions of Rambam, but I want you to be aware that what Rambam says is that if you do things to help your body so that you can attain knowledge of God, then the eating becomes a mitzvah. If you exercise because you want to be healthy and you want to have a clear mind, again, so that you can do the mitzvah and have knowledge of God, the exercise becomes a mitzvah. You see, it's a slight shift in your attitude, and suddenly everything you do becomes a mitzvah. You understand the point about Rambam?
What if you're saying you're exercising more, eating better, just so you could live a longer life, so do more mitzvahs like that?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because you're saying, I want to have a meaningful life. I want to have a life filled with purpose. That purpose being the fulfillment of mitzvot, the study of the Torah, and knowledge of God. And with long life comes a deeper knowledge and a deeper understanding, right? I can't do it, shorter life, but chas v'shalom, can't reach that point, right? So that's what Rambam is driving towards. Rambam is driving towards turning us into people who do everything with that one objective, and that objective being knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore everything that I do which is leading to that: eating right, exercising, sleeping right, having a good relationship with my wife, with my children, working hard, so I have money, having a nice house. All those things, everything is a mitzvah. Really remarkable. So we're going to continue next week. I'm not going to go into the health discussions, but Rambam has a whole chapter here where he discusses what's healthy food, what's unhealthy food. We'll skip that, but you should be aware of it.
You're talking about the specifics of what to eat?
What to eat, how much to
How
eat.
much to eat is-
For example, he says you shouldn't. What?
What's the?
He said you should never fill yourself up. Filling yourself up is very unhealthy. Only reach 2/3. Maybe maybe I'll check. Maybe I'll do some selections from the.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the actual food, he doesn't bring out food.
No, he does. Yes, he does. Yes. He says not to have. Okay, next week we'll do some of it.
Okay.
Yes, next week we'll do some of it. Okay.
All right.
It's cool, so.
Start with,